Dude, it is so wild that one of the most fucked up things I've ever heard about happening to anyone has been happening to me and Riley and my family for the time that it has, and the thing that their death, like, truly one of the most like intense stories that I've heard, and that I've obviously it's extra much for me because I've been experiencing it along with a lot of other people, but it's truly like ginormous. It's hard to even comprehend, but then also it's also extremely common, and it happens thousands of times every year. And addiction and severe mental illness are very normal things that happen to normal people, and that is just a part of the human experience. And obviously there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of like structural changes that can be made, and different ways that different cultures and societies have dealt with these issues. But we're in a weird time in history, and it's what I really think about. Like, I'm kind of mad, not really, but a little bit. It's like frustrating that I am a person who really like focuses on big picture and thinks about things at a meta level, and like I do enjoy that about myself. It's like it's just who I am. Especially when I'm like thinking about the world and the problems that we face. And Riley is also that same way. And they, with their, the way their brain worked, is they took it all upon themselves and almost felt a sense of guilt for how bad things could be in the world. But anyway, I'm kind of kicking myself because it's like, okay, you dingus. Like, I was over here thinking and worried about the civil war in Ethiopia, and like learning about that, which is something that most people don't really know about. It's not really covered that much in mainstream news. Partially, I don't know why it doesn't get the clicks, but like, okay, was I listening to an hour-long podcast of someone talking about that when I could have been having an hour-long conversation with Riley that we reach upon the like perfect point in the conversation where I just say the secret code, and that is what is able to give them the proper insight and control over their life, that they can realize what they want and how to do it, and live healthily and not be engaging in self-harm through engaging in like extremely risky drug use. But that didn't happen because I was listening to the gosh dang podcast. But I also know how ridiculous that is when you say it. Sometimes when you gotta worry, you just gotta say it, whether to yourself or to someone. You gotta say it, and you have to let it sit there and let it hit you just how ridiculous it is. Because I'm such an overthinker, anxious catastrophizer, which that's a whole nother thing. Being a catastrophizer in a catastrophe is, it's a lot. Because I've probably envisioned the death of every single person that I love in all of my family before. And even when I was a little kid, like my parents were 15 minutes late, I was like, oh crap, car accident. We're going to wait like an hour. I'm going to be freaked out and then finally call someone. And then that happens. And that's like, was a normal thing that I thought. And like, it is not surprising to me when I started getting, my anxiety got a lot worse, because I've always been an anxious kid, and that's fine. But yeah, catastrophe happening to a catastrophizer, mind fuck. This like being one of the hardest, worst things I've ever heard about, while it also being something that happens a lot. And a lot of times these sorts of issues kind of happen in private and in secret, which it's weird because on one hand, like there was a level of discretion and privacy and like trying to support Riley and not like, I definitely had people that I was able to trust and share a lot of things with. But a lot of friends, like, I really wasn't able to. I didn't really talk about Riley's struggle specifically as much. And partially just because it was hard to talk about, and I had already felt like I was doing enough. And so it's not like everyone needs to be privy to that information if there's not like a specific ask. But I think it's also just the fact that, like, these are people who have their own relationships with Riley too. And I didn't want to, like, prejudice their mind or whatever, because I'm, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, where are we at? How are they doing? And I don't want to, like, be overbearing and be so, like, I'm so worried about you all the time. And that is something I am proud of. Like, me and Riley, a lot of our hangouts, we were just able to, like, sit back and chill and just, like, have some normalcy, I think, and just have some fun and, like, play games when we were kids. Like, a lot of our hangouts didn't necessarily go into, like it wasn't therapy, which is good, because that's what it should have been. But yeah, so that's all to say. I don't even remember what I was starting at. Oh, just, yeah. And then also the fact that, like, drug use and mental illness and a lot of, like, interpersonal and, like, family issues, like, things do happen really quietly and behind the scenes, which that's okay, because we are doing that too. But at the same time, there is so much shame and so much stigma associated with drug use and with mental health and with queerness. And that's why I do think it's, like, so important to talk about Riley and talk about this whole experience, and just to be honest and to share my truth, and for everyone involved to share their own truth, because it's a lot, and it's the type of pain and the type of grief that I just feel how big it is. And that's not to say that it's like that I'm, like, struggling or doing poorly right now. I don't feel great. I don't feel great, but y'all, it's not been that long, and I also feel okay. Like, I got so much support, and I've been able to access it, especially when I need it. And I've also been able to let myself just get back into the routine of things, and to keep making art, and to keep it up, and to not be hard on myself, because this is not a time where I have that many expectations of, like, any rubric of success other than staying fed and hanging out and keeping it moving. So, gosh, my plan on this one was to do, like, 2 or 3 minutes, make it really concise. Folks, as you know, that's not how this works. So 8 minutes 15 seconds later, oh well, I'll see you later. These were the leftovers of the cheesesteak ingredients, and I just made a little mix of cheesesteak for my lunches there. Peace out.